My education was a linear experience where I found myself going up the totem pole each grade, just barely making it, but succeeding enough to get the passing grade. Looking back on my education experience, it was one that could be considered pretty normal. It wasn't until fourth grade that I truly got an educational experience that demonstrated a loving education. Up to this point, school was a routine of teacher led instruction, memorization, and repetition. As Furry said, his task is to fill the students with the contents of his narration. There was never a push for teachers to expand their funds of knowledge or differentiate instruction or any freedom to express creativity. This was a one-size-fits-all mold that I was not fitting into. My education experience truly related to Dewey as he expresses new education as adjusting for the growth of the child. The purpose of education is that students need to grow. I was entering fourth grade and still had not seen growth in reading since second grade. I got to experience demonstrations of loving education through my fourth grade teacher, Miss Ferguson. As she recognized that I was significantly behind in reading development, she adjusted her teaching skills to help me grow as an individual. When she took the time to learn who I was, what I needed, and how I learned best, Miss Ferguson was able to teach me through experience by utilizing my strengths, passions, and my learning style. She implemented these visions Dewey has, where new education is in harmony with principles of growth for the child. Nieto would explain, this is a demonstration about how love becomes visible through teachers' daily work. My fourth grade teacher showed me faith in my abilities, admiration for me as a student, and appreciated my strengths that I brought into her classroom. In order for me to bring this same vision of experience and growth that I experienced in my education, I will use my funds of knowledge to help students succeed in the classroom. I will place a high value on students' identities, set high expectations for all the students, especially when they're giving up, and create a safe learning environment. Also, I will collaborate with family members and get to know members of the community. It is my duty to gain trust in the community by learning about the important role of local organizations. As I come into their community from outside the urban setting, I need to become very familiar to those who live there, as said by Leonardo and Hunter. In a quote from Hayes, as I work to understand the students and their communities, I can more relevantly connect education to their experiences, which helps to prevent them from becoming alienated from learning. Which is why I think it is most important that teachers in urban schools connect the learning and content to the students' lives in the real world. When working in urban schools, teachers must be resilient to the challenges they face, the efforts made to earn the trust of the community, and the relationships they build. This will take the learning to a different level with the child's growth in mind. As I pursue my career and spend time in the classroom, I am constantly reminded that relationships with the students makes the world of a difference. As we get to know the kids in the classroom, our funds of knowledge allow us to get emotionally invested in their lives and see them as their whole person instead of just looking at them as students. In the classrooms, however, teachers rarely draw on the resources of the funds of knowledge of the child's world outside of the context of the classroom. This being said, I have made an extra effort to get to know the students about their interests outside of the classroom, their families, homes, and hobbies. This has even already made a difference in a relationship with a student in my classroom that used to not speak to any adults in the classroom. I was consistent in learning about her as a whole child, not just her as a student. My resilience to get through to her has paid off, and we now have a great relationship. Whereas before, when I tried to talk to her, she would shut down and not say anything at all. In urban schools, teachers have to practice resilience and share the burdens that these schools face. In the Lanson Billings article, I couldn't get past the truth that was spoken about how schools' operations are building and feeding these inequalities that we continue to see in the systems today. To this day, schools quickly work to sort and separate the students into different instructional programs, leading to differential life chances. These inequalities are spread not only from school to school, but across the nation where we are all competing against different curriculums. If we were to have one common curriculum, then students would have an equal opportunity in the world regardless of how many times they move, which school they go to, or which economic situation they were born into. All children should be given equal opportunities. When schools are based on economic production, we aren't basing their education off of their basic human needs and rights. As I move forward in my career as a teacher, I will make sure that every student has the opportunity to succeed, regardless of the background they come from and the disparities they're born into. I will treat every student as a human being and look past all myths, stereotypes, and assumptions.